Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Thank you everyone that submitted questions for this week's Arrow and Flash Q&A. I know there's a lot of questions about what's going on with Caitlin Snow, and all the Arrow questions are really all over the board. You know, how is Oliver still alive? What's going on with Ra's al Ghul? How is it going to tie in with the back half of the season? So I'll try to get to everything. Next week is going to be another Vertigo-based episode, but we also have details on episodes 14 and 15, so I'll talk about that after I get through questions. Okay, so just careful for spoilers from the episode if you haven't seen them yet as we work our way through questions. So here we go. Raphael asks, what do you think is going to happen to give Cisco and Caitlin their Vibe and Killer Frost abilities? I think Dr. Wells was lying when he told the press he wasn't trying to turn the particle accelerator back on. So there's a couple things that could go on here. Basically what I've seen from Greg Berlanti and the producers is that they just want to let Caitlin and Cisco be Caitlin and Cisco for now. So no powers season 1 is what I think is going to happen. That doesn't mean they won't ever get powers, but I think they're building the Caitlin Snow character out inside this Firestorm arc. So once they establish Firestorm, then they'll transition to a more Caitlin-centric storyline. To answer your question about the particle accelerator, there's really two ways you could go on that. So one, he could not need to build another one because he only needed it to create the first Barry Allen. The other side of that too is that you could say, yeah, he might need to turn it back on to do some cosmic treadmill time travel stuff. I really have no idea how they're going to explain the time travel. We'll find out in episode 15. That'll be like the first time we see time travel. So presumably the Reverse Flash will time travel the same way that the Flash does. But because Barry won't need the particle accelerator to be on to time travel, I don't think the Reverse Flash will need to do that either. I may have explained it in my episode 11 video, but if you look at Barry Allen from the perspective of being the originator of the Speed Force, it's possible that Harrison Wells only needed to create the particle accelerator to create the Flash. They might choose to go another route with the way they explain it because the Speed Force is also like another dimension in and of itself. You can get trapped inside the Speed Force. That'd be a really awesome way to leave off the season. You can let me know if you agree. Do you want to see the Reverse Flash trap Barry inside the Speed Force this season? Next question, Mark asks, who do you think will be in the Rogues? Do you think that they'll have people with powers or use tech-based villains? Well, I think it'll be a combination of both tech and metahuman-based abilities. As for the relative composition of the Rogues, I don't think that there's going to be that many this season. We have Heatwave, Captain Cold, and now Golden Glider, Captain Cold's sister, so at least those three. Pied Piper is kind of a loner, so I don't know that he's necessarily going to team up with the other Rogues this season, but that's a possibility. Then there's always the possibility that the Reverse Flash could use the Rogues. That wouldn't necessarily mean him joining the Rogues, but they could form a temporary alliance. To be honest though, I'd rather see them use Captain Cold's gun to take down the Reverse Flash. Next question, Bartu asks, what are Batman and Superman doing? Are they even in this DC Arrow Flash TV universe? Well, yes, they're in the universe. It's just that because of licensing rights, they're not allowed to mention them on screen, specifically by name, like Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne. The simplest way to look at it is that Bruce Wayne is of a comparable age to Oliver Queen. So if Oliver Queen is going through his initial permutations before he becomes the Emerald Archer, before he joins the Justice League, assume that Batman is at a similar stage of development. Or if you really want to nitpick and say that Bruce Wayne is still going to join the League of Assassins at some point, you could say that Bruce has almost gone to Nanda Parbat, like he's not quite there yet. Just in general terms, assume the entire DC universe exists inside the Arrowverse. It seems kind of silly, but think about it this way. Arrow isn't so much a comic book show as it's The Wire with a comic book character in it. Someone asked Mark Guggenheim about his favorite TV shows, and he said The Wire and Sons of Anarchy. So don't think of Arrow so much as being a DC show as being a drama with a couple DC characters in it. So they follow the logic of traditional drama more than they do comic book logic. It's always hard to explain why they don't have Barry Allen on speed dial all the time, but the simplest answer is that it would ruin all their stories. It's harder to tell human drama when you have unlimited power. That's why it's so hard to get a Superman movie right. So that's why Arrow has kind of stayed away from powers, although they're slowly changing their tune. Next question, Henbot asks, is no one getting rather disturbed by the fact that they're locking up all these people without lose, rights, sunlight, trial, or anything? So yeah, I definitely think that the show's going to address this. They are trying to do the right thing, but they're still figuring things out, so they're going to make a lot of mistakes. Let's not forget about the idea of the prison break too. If you were the Reverse Flash, and the Flash was one of the only people that could defeat you, how would you deal with him so that you could carry out some secret plan and keep him from stopping you? One easy way to distract him would be to release all those metahumans at the same time. Team Flash would be so busy dealing with them, they probably wouldn't be able to deal with the Reverse Flash. That doesn't mean that's what the Reverse Flash is planning on doing. I think that the Reverse Flash, Harrison Wells that is is going to enter into a Malcolm Merlin Oliver situation with Barry at a certain point. Barry still doesn't know what's going on, so they're going to have that moment first. But I think Harrison will appeal to Barry's emotions, and he'll begrudgingly help him. Next question, Nomar asks, so did Barry take a peek like Caitlin suggested? Well, I kind of think he did, like a little bit, very briefly, but I think he's trying to forget about it. As he said, he's still hung up on Iris, so thinking of Caitlin in a romantic way it just isn't on his radar. It's pretty believable that a dude would be pretty dense about that too, just not notice that a girl was into him. Barry's so busy trying to get faster as the Flash and deal with Iris, he doesn't see Caitlin that way. But yes, he totally sneaked a brief peek. There's no one that would not have peeked. Next question, Mijan asks, I actually thought of Killer Croc when they went underground. Actually, the comic book, the Flash Season 0 comic book this week had King Shark in it. So I think that they're just slowly teasing into the crossbreed metahumans. When I say that, I mean like genetic experiments. They could also be teasing something going on underneath Central City, like metahumans crawling around in the sewers. I like that idea too. It would be really cool if Gorilla Grodd created Gorilla City in the sewers beneath Central City without Team Flash knowing about it. Okay, next question. So I'm moving into Arrow-related stuff now. So Layla Willow asks, still waiting for an explanation on how Oliver's alive again. Wasn't he stabbed in the chest? Now we see bandages over his stomach. Danny's saying to Laurel, you're lucky, I don't kill women. And now we see him explaining how he killed Malcolm's wife, and he was all happy about it. Okay, so just working down your list. The place that Ra's al Ghul stabbed him was probably like in just the right place. Like Oliver got lucky, plus Katana probably had some really awesome healing skills. I did see some confusion. A lot of people thought that he got stabbed in the heart. He got stabbed on the other side of his chest, and it was really like kind of just below his ribcage. So if he got stabbed in any critical organs, it was one of his lungs, and you could still survive with just one lung working. Usually when they lay things down in the writer's room, they make complete sense, but by the time it gets filmed, edited, and it airs on television, it's changed a whole bunch. So if there's any inconsistencies, it's just a function of the production process. As for the break thing, not killing women, you could look at it a couple different ways. One, he could not be killing women anymore. Like maybe he used to kill women and he created that policy after he became the break that we see right now. Or option two, he could be an unreliable narrator. He could just be lying through his teeth. Next question, Gorilla M asks, who do you think will be resurrected in the Lazarus Pit? My money's on Tommy or Ra's al Ghul. So Arrow actually, they did build a Lazarus Pit set. In episode 4, we see him getting out of like a hot tub looking thing. I don't know if that's the Lazarus Pit they were talking about. Let's just assume that it is for a minute, because they said they also make a lot of hot tub time machine jokes. I feel like the biggest WTF they could do that would be a really awesome way to end the season is if someone like Merlin ends up killing Ra's al Ghul, and then Nyssa dumps his body in the Lazarus Pit. Regardless of how Ra's al Ghul is dealt with, if anyone's going to get to use it, it's going to be him. Next question, Felix Butcher asks, my favorite scene was when Lance and Arsenal were talking, and Lance was like, I'm not stupid, I know it's you, Roy. Yeah, that was really funny. I feel like that's just teeing up the Black Canary reveal. He's going to figure out that Laurel is the Black Canary. It's just a way for the TV series to tell us that Quentin is a very smart person. He's a good detective. So if he wants to learn someone's secret identity, he's going to learn it. I feel like the line gets drawn at the Arrow's identity though. In the comics, there have been various points where Jim Gordon seems like he knows who Batman is, and he probably does, but openly, he says he doesn't want to know. Next question, Potato Chip asks, when are they going to bring in Oliver's son that he doesn't know about? There's a couple ways to think about this. They could bring him on as part of a family arc in a future season. I feel like this season's already too crowded with characters, so bringing him on probably wouldn't help. Option 2 is for like another Flaro reveal, like the Arrow Flash crossover in following seasons, like seasons 4, 5, 6, whatever, until they're ready to actually bring the kid on in a major arc. Next question, Brian asks, is there going to be another Flash and Arrow crossover? Well, so this season, episode 18 is going to be an Atom Flash crossover, so kind of Flash Arrow crossover, but it'll be very Atom specific. The big crossover that you might be talking about, the Flaro crossover, they're going to do that every year. It'll come before the mid-season finale every year. They'll keep doing that as long as the Arrow and the Flash are on air. The CW just said it was like the most successful thing they ever did. So yeah, definitely lots more Arrow Flash crossovers, but it's only going to be a once a season kind of thing. Next question, Pyons asks, what do you think Slade's significance is this season? Isn't he supposed to make an appearance in episode 14? I'd really like to see a Slade versus Ra's al Ghul fight. So Slade is going to be in an island episode. That's going to be episode 14, The Return. I'm going to read the synopsis for episode 14 right now. Malcolm puts Oliver and Thea in a dangerous situation that lands them on Lian Yu with Oliver's former enemy, Deathstroke. So we don't know what that dangerous situation that Merlin throws them in. I'm just guessing that Slade gets out and they end up fighting a little bit and Slade gets away. And since we've been talking about the Atom suit a lot and the Nanda Parbat, here's actually the description from episode 15 if you guys haven't read it. Malcolm is captured by Ra's al Ghul and taken to Nanda Parbat. Because of his love for Thea, Oliver considers saving Merlin. Then back in Starling, Ray is obsessed with finishing his Atom suit so he can save the city. But Felicity fears he's heading down the same path as Oliver and tries to pull him out of the lab. I know that sounds kind of opaque, but it is something to get really excited about. But thank you so much everyone that submitted questions. These are always a ton of fun to do. Don't forget, lots of big stuff happening this weekend. So we have a Game of Thrones special. Walking Dead is coming back. Be sure to subscribe to get all that stuff. I'm going to try and do some gameplay for the Game of Thrones Telltale game on my Twitch channel this weekend too. Maybe tomorrow. Just in case you guys haven't seen them yet, you can click here for this week's Flash episode and here for this week's Arrow episode. Thank you so much for watching, so I'll see you guys this weekend. High fives.